with others who may not have been able to be here. But this is going to be out only for 72 hours and then it will be off. So anything that you share and the chat is not going to be in the recording, of course. But you're most welcome to be in the videos if you're okay with that. So let us start by looking at this. What is the biggest struggle for you when it comes to goal setting? You know, through my work, I've seen that most people, what they find really hard and they tend to struggle with is two main things. Number one, they don't actually know how to set goals. Okay. And number two, they actually find it really difficult to stick to the goals. The bad news is that 90% of people quit by February their New Year resolutions. However, the good news is that we have enough research to help us change that. Change is always going to be hard, right? But according to the research, we know that setting goals can be really, really helpful. It is something that can make you happier. So it is important. The research actually shows us that it can help suppress feelings of depression, feelings of fear. So having goals keeps you actively engaged towards your future. It gives you hope. It gives you a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, a sense that you're up for something, you know? So why don't people stick to them? What stops them? Quite often is a sense of lack of resilience. So just really feeling that they don't have it in them to keep the change that they want to effect in their life. Sometimes they think that they're not good enough to meet their goals. So a low self-esteem, a low sense of self intrinsically may stop them from feeling that they're going to be able to do what they want to do and create what they want to create. And other times, a really interesting one is lack of inner motivation. So you do set a goal, but actually the whole goal was not about you. And it was not about an intrinsic motivation. It was actually about something else, a reward or something you want to achieve through it as an outcome, or maybe something that has been pressurized from the outside. And the last one that is a common struggle is this emotional difficulty to connect with your future self. So the ability to connect with who you want to be, the vision you have of the person you are becoming, is really important to emotionally connect you to your goal. So this is what we're going to learn today, right? By the time we finish the workshop, you are going to identify one goal that I want you to focus and take away. And we'll do and apply this 6-step formula that I'm going to share that you can use in any other goals in your different areas of your life that you can apply, okay? Now, let us define what is the key components of effective goal setting to start with. And so I just wanted to share, based on the work of Dr. Elliot T. Berkman in the Neuroscience of Goals and Behavior Change, he defines goal in a really interesting way. He says, a goal is any desired outcome that wouldn't otherwise happen without you doing something. Now let me unpack that. Let's say that this year you want to grow an audience or a platform, or you want to write a book, or you want to have the highest turnover in your business yet, or maybe you want to move jobs or start your own business or launch a creative project, whatever it is. You have to do something different this year for it to be a goal. If your goal is to carry on exactly as you are and do exactly what you did in the past year, that's not a goal. That's zero resistance. Okay, so for a goal to be a goal, there needs to be some resistance. There needs to be some friction. And it needs to require you to do something new, to push through that discomfort. Otherwise, I tell you, your goals are probably too easy. So as we set goals today in the workshop and you write it down and you say it to yourself, I want you to notice what happens in your body. And I want you to ask yourself, does this goal makes me feel just a little bit sick in my stomach when I think about doing it? And if the answer is yes, that's a good sign. Then you're on the right track, okay? So let us start thinking about your life, and we are going to start applying this. Let's think about an area of your life that you'd like to improve in the coming year. Okay, have a look at this wheel of life that I'm sharing there with you. This is a tool that I use with my clients to help them turn some of their visions into reality, to get really clear about what they want to work on in their different parts of their life. I work in a very holistic way. And if you don't know which area to pick, just ask yourself, which of these areas did you find most challenging in the past year? Was it career? Was it money? Was it health? Friends and family? Was it the significant other, romance area? Personal growth? Fun and recreation? Or maybe just your physical environment, your house, your home, or the place you live? Which area are you least satisfied with right now? If you were to rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not satisfied at all and 10 really quite happy about that, which area did you rank the lowest? Can you share in the chat maybe with me so you can start putting your attention there? You see, it's very funny. Sometimes people come into coaching, they say, I want to work on my career. This is what I want to work on. And then they go into that, and we'll do this exercise, and suddenly we notice that a completely different area of their life was ranked much lower than the career. Maybe they ranked their career already on a 6 or a 7, and then maybe the romance area, they ranked it a 2, and they'll say, oh, I don't have time for that. But actually, that's the thing that needs your time, because we need to have a balanced life. And the research on happiness shows us that we need to take care of these different areas of our life in order to be able to really feel fulfilled, balanced, and happy, you know. So Sasha shares that an area that she wants to improve is romance, fun, and recreation, money, and career. So that's a lot of areas, and we can set goals in all of them. I do that every year. I set goals in all of them, but I'm going to ask you, Sasha, just for this workshop, pick 1, maximum 3 that you want to work on so we can go through the process. Okay, thank you. That's fantastic though. Lovely to hear. Mushkan, are we able to ask questions? You wanted to ask a question?
Yes,
You get towards the end. Yeah?
I want to ask a question about what's the difference between a dream and a realistic goal. As in the end of the day, we always try to resemble the dream is equals to our real goal, and we always try to make our dreams as a real goal. If I want to be rich, it's not realistic, but I am trying to make my dream as the realistic goal. So, what's the basically difference between them?
It's very hard to hear. The sound, I find it hard to hear. So I couldn't fully understand the question. I wonder if you could type quickly in the chat for me, and I'll try and answer the question. Because I find it really hard to hear. The line is not very strong. So just give us, type it in the chat, and I'll try and address it as we go along. Okay? So choose an area, all of you, that you'd like to work on. We've got Inderjit talking about health, and each one of you can pick one and just let me know which area you're going to be working on in the workshop. So for me, I'm just going to give you an example. I'm going to pick up, as an example, family and friends, okay? So I've just moved into a new part of town. I live in London. It's a very busy town, and I've only moved 2 years ago to this neighborhood, and I'm still building community here. I'm having to meet new people, put myself out to meet new people, because I've learned in life that friendships, they keep changing, right? It depends very much on where you live, proximity, your stage of life, your levels of energy even. And so I really want to carve out some time in 2026 to make new friends, to build a community, and learn this skill of making new friends. So I guess my goal is to become the weird lady who will be talking to everyone on the bakery. No, sorry, that I'm just joking. But just want you to think about your own goal, right? Which area of your life do you want to address, right? And what do you want to do something different about? So Muskan is now asking in the chat, what is the difference between a dream and a realistic goal? As we always try to make our dreams into some realistic goal and later disappoint, right? Well, that leads me exactly to what I'm going to work with you next, right? So this is a perfect question to lead me to my next point, okay? So when we are setting goals, I actually invite clients to dream big, okay? So allow yourself to think big, right? So start by thinking about, in this area of my life, where I would like to be 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line if everything went really well. So let me go back to my example, which is a really surface level example, but just to take us through the workshop. Building a community of friends in my neighborhood. Well, maybe 5 years down the line, if I dream big, I would love us to take a really long haul trip and just travel together and go into a new country all together and have a big exploration of a new country away, right? So that's a dream that I'm not going to be able to achieve in 2026. It's a big dream, right? From there, though, I have to think about stepping back, right? And I hope, Miss Candice, answers your question. I have to start thinking slower now, smaller steps, how can I build that? What's the next baby step that I can take towards that goal? So for me, I need to start hosting friends here, building them together here in my home, right? And so by building that relationship, potentially 5 years down the road, we'll be able to, take a trip together, right? So think big, first of all, to help you see where you want to go, because then you can scale it down, okay? Now, a second tip, and this is a weird one, it's quite intense, but bear with me. If you don't know what you want or which area to work on, I invite people to think about their death. I know this sounds intense, but stay with me. If you stop and take a pause and just remember, what's important to you? What do you really wish? Is there anything that you would have regretted not having done? So Maria is saying she wants to work on her personal growth. We need to understand, Maria, what that means for you. If 1 year down the line, you knew that you were dying, what is it around your personal growth that you really wanted to have invested in? Is there something that you wanted to have learned? Is there a part of your spiritual growth that you needed to address? Is there some therapy or some coaching that you wanted to have taken to help you take yourself to expand your connection with your uniqueness and your gifts and your true self, right? So you are leading your life from that place. I think when this links with some research done at the University of Rochester, where social psychologists, they found that in order for us to set goals effectively, it is really important that you set a goal that is congruent with yourself, right? It's what we call your will and your why. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. But it's important you get the goal to be congruent with you rather than with other people and the expectations that are external to you, right? So let me talk to you about that will and the way, right? This is the work from psychologist Roy Baumeister, and he found that if you want to set goals effectively and actually then follow through, you need two things, right? You need to link that, first of all, with your intrinsic motivation, and that's what we call the will, right? And the will is actually the why you want that goal, right? What is the emotional engine of your goal? You ask yourself, why is this important to me? Why do I want to change in that area? So if you want to work on your personal growth, why is that so important? Why do you want to make some changes there? And why now? I love that. Why now, right? So I want you, as you go along, you've picked an area, you've picked a behavior change that you want to have or something you want to see, you've dreamed big, you pinned it down to what do you really want there. And now think about why you want it, okay? And you can write down the answers to these questions in the chat, share with me, or just write it on your notepad. But let me ground this in a real example. I use the friendship and the community building, so I'm going to keep to that. So why do I want to change that? I would have to ask myself, right? Well, I want to change that because I need to learn to rely on other people. I can't rely on my old group of friends because I've moved and London is very busy. People don't go from borough to borough. It's really important to have people near and around you. And especially now, why now? So I'm answering these questions. I'm self-coaching, right? You can do that to yourself. Why now? I'm in a stage of life. I've got a small child. And what's that saying? It takes a village to raise a child. That's so true. So, I need people that are going to support me in this stage of life, right? And I'm probably going to be here in this house. I've just moved for another decade at least. So it's time to put some roots down. And so that's my will. Do you see that? It's just why I will do that. I will do it because I will make that happen because. So strengthen what you will do with the reasoning behind it, okay? And please share with me what you're gaining so I can help you and coach you a little bit as we go along. But the second step is the way. And the way is actually about how, the way in which you're going to go about it. How are you going to do that behavior change, right? This is a more cognitive, practical side of your goal. And sometimes this is where people overcomplicate or just skip this and avoid the planning altogether. So I wanted to ask yourself, this change that you are willing to make, how is that going to unfold? What are the skills that you need to develop, right? What's your plan? And who is going to keep you accountable? So for me, that looks like this, right? So I've shared my goal with you. I need to think of a plan. I can't just want to make new friends and not do anything about it. So I have identified a few people that I've met that I'd like to get closer to. And so I have my network. I'm also going to schedule, and I have done that, schedule time on my calendar, right? When I'm going to host and create some small gatherings. This takes effort. It takes time to organize, right? So I need to plan it. I'm also going to make sure that I work on my skills to host. And I was wondering what that would look like. And I actually found that one of the skills that I really need to develop is vulnerability. Because sometimes these things don't go well, or people don't get along, or you may be rejected. People may say, no, I don't want to come. How am I going to keep accountable? In this case, I just created a WhatsApp group and that keeps us all accountable that we're going to make time to be with each other. But the key takeaway is you need a strong why and you need a clear how, okay? And you need to engage both because these are two different parts of your brain. The why engages your emotional reward-based system, right? Your dopamine. And the how, it's more of your executive functioning, planning, organizing, following through. And if either of these is missing, the goal is going to really weaken, right? So give yourself permission to review your goals, right? Let me just take care of the chat a little bit and see what we're saying. Lena says, it is difficult to find then step when it is something inside you that you want to change. Well, it is difficult to find a step when it's something that is inside, but you can. It's hard for me to guide you and answer that question exactly now, but that's exactly the type of work that I do because I do deep psychological coaching. So finding out what are the parts of you that maybe are active that you want to not be driven by so much in your life when it's something that is internal. It may be something energetic. It may be something like an emotion that you keep experiencing that you want to change. Like I have a client, for example, that we're working on managing their anger partly, not being so reactive and so responsive, so reactive at work in their leadership, so reactive at home with their kids, so reactive with their husband, and so it's quite an internal goal, managing that reactivity so they don't become overly frustrated or anxious and then snap and become quite, you know, angry. So that's quite an example of an internal goal that we are working on by doing some parts work, some IFS parts work. So relaxing with other people and friends is exactly part of an example of that. Okay, so let us keep going. I want to give you as well a really powerful, although slightly unusual tip and an exercise I do with clients for you to try. And that is about talking about your goals in the third person. Okay. So this comes from, I don't have a slide for this, so I might just stop sharing for a moment, but this comes from research from Cornell University that shows that when we describe our goals in the third person, it helps us gain some psychological distance, right? And that can be really helpful to make your thinking clearer. Psychologists call that the external storage. So if you take your thinking outside and give yourself some distance, you can really notice how strong is your commitment and how likely are you to follow through. So let me show you what I mean. Instead of you saying, for example, I want more friends in my neighborhood, I might be saying, Anna, so I'm going to say it in the third person, Anna wants to create a community of friends that she can truly rely on. She's curious about what life would look like if she spent more time with new people, and if she said yes more often, and if she went into town with new friends and allowed new relationships to deepen. So as I say this, it feels really strange because you're talking about yourself in the third person, but it's so powerful because what just happened then is an emotional connection to your future self from the present moment. And the research shows that we need to emotionally connect with our future self to be emotionally involved with our goals. They become far more effective when we do that. Okay, so this goal is no longer an abstract goal. It's now very personal because I've put myself into it, right? So I'm very happy to allow one of you to try it together. If any of you wants to come on camera and share their goal in the third person, we can do a little bit of coaching. I only have time for one person, but I'm happy to do that. Um, and just seeing some of the comments in the chat, I have to change my future vision because I think it would be easier for me if I really focus on what matters to achieve my short-term goals. And I have to start now because I need to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to achieve them, says Maria. That's great. I have to change my future vision. Yeah, focus on what matters to you. Yes, and start now because you need to make sure that you start soon in order to achieve them. That's right. This is the time, this is the moment. Being here, Maria, is already a sign that you are starting that pathway. So Sasha has a hand raised risen, and Sasha, you happy to come up and unmute yourself? Are you happy to speak?
Yes,
Lovely.
hi, can you hear me?
So, yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much.
Uh,
Do you have your third person statement then? You're very brave coming in. Well done.
No, I don't. Thank you. No, I don't have my sorry because I didn't listen. Can you do it
Repeat.
again? Yes,
Yeah.
please, so
So
I can do it.
tell me shortly, what area did you focus on in the workshop?
So out of the money, romance, fun and recreation and career, I thought that career was the most important because obviously that will impact the rest of it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So let's stay with that. And what is your big dream there when we give the
So
big dream picture? Just very briefly.
So for me, for myself, because I have a business, but I want to now also develop my own personal brand.
Okay.
So that would be one of the goal.
Brilliant. So building my personal brand. That's the goal.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And what is your smallest baby step towards that?
Um, I think that would be to start creating probably starting to
Okay.
creating content on my own personal socials.
Yeah, and your offer. Okay, so you want to build your social media platform, probably choose which social media channel you want to focus on.
Instagram, I'm a big Instagram fan.
You're a big Instagram, so you stay on Instagram, focus on one only to start with, right? Rather than doing many. And you want to get your message clear. So this year is about getting your message really clear, being able to really articulate really well what is the solution that you offer, what problem do you solve, what's different and unique about you, and sharing your personal voice in that medium, right? So creating content
Yes,
that is very real to you, that doesn't, lead you to exhaustion, but rather feels fun to do and is aligned with your true self. Okay, being really,
exactly.
really, really honest. That's what builds things up. Okay, so we got it. You got it. You got the goal there, right? It's really clear. So now we're going to do that exercise of saying, Sasha, is it Sasha? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Sasha is, you do it and talk about
So,
yourself in third person. Sasha is building a,
okay, so Sasha is building her personal brand on Instagram, by getting her message clear and the problem that she solves, and by creating fun and easy content that is aligned with her true self.
brilliant. How do you feel? Shaking your body.
No, that's good. No, that feels good.
Yeah,
That's weird to talk about myself on the third person, but I guess that it's a good, yes, it feels more like, okay, cool. This is what I have to do to be that person. So I just have to do
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. And can I just say a really big well done? And you've got some praise in the chat and in here. A big,
Thank
big well done.
you.
Everybody is supporting. We're all behind you. Yeah.
Thank
They're
you.
stepping in and doing that exercise, right? Thank you for coming in. That was lovely. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Lovely to
Thank you,
meet you.
Anna.
So, um, in the same way that Sasha modeled that so well, that's exactly what you all want to be doing for all of the different areas of your life. So she set up a goal for her career, and she can also go away and then set up a goal into other areas. But focus on a maximum of 3 at a time, okay? And the other piece of these is you then coming back and reviewing that goal. So the more assiduous you are in reviewing your how you're going to do that, and re-energizing your why do I want to do that? And I didn't ask that to Sasha, but that's a deeper conversation. Why do you want to have this brand? Why do you want to have your own business? Why do you want to create this? It's a really important question to ask. Finding your mission statement is a really great exercise to do whenever you're building your business. And you need to keep doing it, time after time after time. So coming back to your goals at the end of each month will definitely help you moving things forward. So let me share the 6 steps that we have covered so far with you. Coming back to the slides so we can just anchor some of our learning. So the first step, just to bring it all together for you, is to know what you want. I know this sounds really obvious, but actually people skip this because you want to set goals that are really clear, not pressurized, not habit, right? And sometimes when we go deeper into understanding what you truly want, you notice that some of the desires that you have were created by external pressure. And the deepest desires that you have maybe have never even been noticed, brought to awareness, or vocalized. And that's where I like to go with my clients, not stay at surface level, but go to the deeper layers of what may be not yet revealed, right? To yourself about what you truly want, to do in certain areas of your life. Okay. Step 2, we didn't say that, but I want to make sure you get that. Write it down. And I noticed Sasha had her pen, and that's really good. I hope you're all making notes. Writing down your goals, it's not just because you're a good student, it makes it measurable. And we call that external storage. Okay. You place it outside your mind. Maybe you're going to, there's neuroscience to back this up. Maybe you're going to put it up on the wall, you're going to see it regularly. And what your brain does, it begins to encode that this matters to you, this is important, and it moves it to your long-term memory. So from the short-term memory to the long-term memory, once you get that happening, you start really finding in your world, in your environment, your brain will start noticing opportunities, patterns, possibilities, and behaviors that will support that goal. And that's what's behind what a lot of the mainstream calls manifestation, right? That is a neurobiological process of actually creating in your own reality what your mind is focusing on, and you're focusing your energy and your work into. Okay, so that is step down. Writing it down, it's really key. Don't skip that. Step 3, find the formula. Now, for all of you freelancers, business makers out there, this is really important. Okay, as an entrepreneur, I learned this the long way myself, so I want to save you some time. At this point, you know what you want, right? You've written it down, you know what it matters, you know how you're going to go about it and how you want to approach it. Find someone who has already done it, right? If you want to write a book, find people who wrote books already. If you want to build a business, find people who built business already. Stop improvising. There is a formula out there. Stop wanting to be original. That is not where your creativity needs to go, okay? Not on the path, right? There is a proven path. Learn the formula, apply it, whatever your goal is. A healthier relationship, changing careers, starting your business, getting fit, learning a new skill. Someone has already done it. So for everything that's been done, there's a formula, there's a sequence, there's a process, there's a method, okay? Don't reinvent the wheel and don't do it on your own, okay? Find that process. Step 4, do the reps. I'm really sorry, this is the boring bit, right? This is where honesty really matters. There is nothing glamorous about achieving goals, okay? There's no constant excitement. There's no magical moment, right? Goals are actually about repetition. They're about doing something that is often boring, sometimes uncomfortable, occasionally frustrating. But if you want to be healthy, you need to put in the reps. If you want to write a book, you need to make time to write it. If you want to create any meaningful sort of change, you need to have an increased tolerance for change, an increased tolerance for challenge, for resilience, right? That's where it's all at, and you have to show up. You have to show up anyway. Step 5, review and reflect. We've said these already. Don't just set a goal today and then forget about it. Come back to it. Notice what's working, adjust what isn't, set course, stay connected to the intention, right? This is how you stay in relationship with the goal rather than abandoning it. And finally, step 6, celebrate your wins. This part is essential. A lot of people skip it, but it's important that you learn and reward your brain that your effort matters. So you keep going, okay? The small wins count, your progress counts, right? And acknowledging that really builds the momentum, really builds your self-trust, okay? So if you remember nothing else, remember this: clarity, structure, repetition, reflection, and compassion. Compassion for yourself. That's actually what you need to turn your goals into some lived change, okay? So take a look at your goals, now apply this research into it. And maybe you may be wondering, okay, this is great, but what next, right? How do I take action on this goal? And so the next step is actually really crucial, and it's about accountability, right? Research shows you that having someone to hold your hand to keep you accountable makes all the difference in your ability to stay the course. So I want to invite you to think about working with a coach or joining a community where you can get that sort of support, that type of accountability that you need. And if this resonates with you, I would love to explore that possibility with you. So before we close, I want to speak to those of you who may be feeling something shift, right? Not pressure, not urgency. We've got the steps over there, and I'm going to share those with you. But just a quiet sense of, I don't want this year to be the same again. If that's you, just stay with me for a few more minutes before you go. Because what we've done today is we created some clarity, right? But clarity on its own doesn't really create the change that you need to see. What actually creates the change is you gaining the support, the structure, and the accountability over time, especially when life gets busy, motivation dips, self-doubt creeps in, you know it. So that's why I want to talk to you about my coaching program, the Ultimate Coaching Program. And this is a one-to-one container designed for people who are really serious about doing some meaningful change. They're prepared to do the work, but they want to do it in a way that is sustainable, that is human, and there is deeply psychological, because that's the way that I work. So what is included? I often work with people on 12 coaching sessions, and we extend that typically over 6 to 8 months. We often meet 2 times per month, every other week. And flexibility is really important in my work. So if you're traveling, if you need to adapt your timings, you book as you go, right? But what's really different and what's really important for you to know is that in my coaching, I don't just do the coaching session and the hour is finished and we're off and then we'll see each other again. There's the whole in between. And so my clients get a private portal where they have their session notes. They also get worksheets. They get a coaching journal, and they get an ongoing sharing of files and resources. It's like we're working on a project together. So there's a partnership between us with ongoing communication between sessions so that you're not doing these on your own, right? And so that relationship is really important. The research shows that 90% of effectiveness in coaching and in therapy as well is down to the connection between the client and the coach, the relationship, the rapport. So it's really important that that relationship grows and it's good. So you don't have to decide if you're going to work with me today, because I might not be the right coach for you. There might be a better coach for you out there. But what I would like to offer you is the possibility to book a free discovery session where we take an hour together and we look at your goals and we do decide if this is the right thing for you. Are we a good fit? Can we work together? And so I'm going to give you a chance to book that in a second, but just to let you know what other clients who worked with me have said about my work. I've got here Polly Russell. She's the head of the Eccles Institute at the British Library, and she said, working with Anna has transformed my approach to leadership and how I run my team. The clarity I gained through our sessions has empowered me to lead with confidence and vision. I highly recommend. So I ended up working with Polly for a while, but also with a whole team. So I often work with a leader, but also with the teams in the organizations. And I love that systemic coaching as well. I've got another testimonial from Thomas. He's a creative director, and he says, Anna's coaching helped me overcome creative blocks that I had struggled with for years. Her guidance was both supportive and actionable, leading to breakthrough moments in my work. And so these are just examples of some of the many people who worked with me. I also have a little live. I'm not sure you can hear that.
For over 12 sessions. Part of that is because I work at the NSF, so I was kind of trying to squeeze out as much time as I could with her. I came to Anna because she came strongly recommended by people that I trust, and I was working on I have a music project, and I had some social media stuff that I had to address, and so I wanted to engage with a professional in a controlled environment.
There's a lot of echo. So I'm gonna stop it because the echo is not working there, right? So I'll move on. But just to let you know, in terms of the Ultimate Coaching Program, I want to be really transparent about the investments because clarity really matters. The Ultimate Coaching Program is £1,779 for 12 sessions over 6 to 8 months. But for you only, if you book a discovery session today or within the next 72 hours on the link that I'm going to share by email, you get a discount and it's only 1,577. This is a really great deal. So I don't need you to decide today. By booking a discovery session, you're not committing to these. You just have a go and you have a chance to really look and see. Now, I've only got 5 spaces available for discovery sessions and only 2 clients that I'm taking on at the moment. And I keep it small on purpose because for me, depth matters. The work that we do is really deep. So this may be for you if you want to coach with, where you can work with psychological depth. If you want a space to be deeply reflective and get to deeper layers of who you are, and if you want to commit to leading or creating or living from a more conscious self, okay? If you want a quick fix, if you want someone to tell you what to do, if you're not ready to prioritize yourself and put the work in between sessions, this is not for you. I am not your coach then, okay? But you don't need just more willpower, right? You don't need to become someone else. What you need is the right container, something that supports, someone that holds you, that has your nervous system, that is aligned with your values and with your future self. So if that's calling you, I want to put the link in the chat for you to enter my page and book a session. And also there is a slide over here with a code that might be the easiest way for you to access it. So don't lose the opportunity to book that time. I've got some sessions available on Friday, the last Friday of this month, and in early February. And after that, they are gone, and this sale will be closed, and my 2026 prices are going to kick in. So take the opportunity. Have you got any questions today? Thank you so much for being here. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to stay a little bit until we finished. So if anyone has got any questions, Muskan, thank you so much for the goal setting. Insightful and motivating. Thank you, Muskan. Really learned a lot from you. Brilliant. Thank you. Are there any opportunities for remote work, or if you ever need support on any projects, I'd be very grateful to be considered. Great. Let's stay in touch. Muskan, email me. Let's stay in touch. I appreciate it. Thank you. So if there's any other questions, thank you. Just let me know in the chat or come up. If not, I want to thank you so much for being here today. I hope I can hear from you. I'll follow up with the email.